Hello, welcome to the Vietlight TV show, and this is the program of Think and Grow Rich Again. And with us, it is an honor to have Mr. Ray Reid, who is selected by the Napoleon Hill Foundation to continue the legacy to train and to teach people around the world how to live happily and how to be a millionaire.
Well, and have a good attitude about it. Yeah, actually, Napoleon Hill in 1908 was given a letter by the richest man in the world. His name was Andrew Carnegie. To go meet all the most powerful and influential people of that era. Well, 100 years later, the Napoleon Hill Foundation gave me a similar letter and gave me the opportunity to meet today's top thought leaders and talk about how they've persevered through their most challenging times.
Yeah, that's wonderful, because I heard that story when he came out from law school, and then it's a wonderful opportunity for you, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So who will you meet so far? What do you give to them, or what did you?
Well, I've been very blessed. I've had the opportunity to meet everyone from the founder of like Remax Real Estate and Chick-fil-A restaurants, all the way to the guy who invented the credit card magnetic strip and cellular phone, the gentleman who started Apple Computer, all the way to the guy building the elevator to space. All these amazing people.
Wow, yeah. What do you learn?
Stickability. They all had this power of perseverance.
The same thing, yeah.
Yeah, they had power of perseverance. They understood that first there's a dream, then there's challenge, and then there's victory. Unfortunately, most people quit in the challenge. And it's the people that have that stickability, that perseverance factor, they're the ones that come out on top. And the biggest takeaway is the people that come out on top also are committed. They're not just interested in their dream. I'll give you an example. If you start a brand new restaurant downtown because it's a hot trend, well, you're interested in it. Well, as soon as there's challenges, chances are you might quit and fold in the tent. If you took over your family Italian restaurant that's been around for 8 generations, as soon as you have those same challenges, since you're committed to see it through, you're going to find a way to seek a solution, and so you can pass it on to your kids as well. And I found that people that have the greatest accomplishments have that commitment factor and that stickability, that they're going to make it happen no matter what.
Wow. So that's the stickability is the the common success secret sauce for all these millionaires.
That and association, and surrounding yourself with the right people and also getting the right information. Napoleon Hill was a stickler about accurate thinking. That means getting the right content in the right order to make the right decision. And we talked about that earlier in a different segment when we talked about the difference between counsel and opinion. And this is the biggest takeaway. The guy who invented string theory taught me this. He says that successful people seek counsel where failures listen to opinion. Opinions based on ignorance, lack of knowledge, inexperience, they just have never done it. Where counsels based on wisdom, knowledge, mentorship, they already paved the way. So if I went to someone and said I was going to write a book to like a family friend, they might say, you can't do that, because they've never done it themselves. If I go to Mark Victor Hansen, wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, and say I'm going to write a book, I'll say, great, here's what you need to know, and give me counsel. John Schwartz said if we would spend our daily lives only seeking counsel and ignoring people's opinion, that's the day your life changes.
That's very powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what is the passion? How do you come up with this passion? And also, where do you get this passion to do this stuff?
Well,
how
again,
do people move you?
Well, the big question is, that's my passion, but what's yours? And people say, well, how do you find this? And the big question is, what would you do if you could do it for free? Like if you've got $100 million and tomorrow you don't have to go to a work or you don't have to do something, what would you do if you could do it for free? And someone asked me this question many, many years ago, and it completely transformed my life. Because I realized that the most important thing for me is to make an impact in other people's lives.
Right. So the passion is, I remember Les Rao talk about that.
Got to be hungry.
You got to be hungry. Not only that, there is a greatness in you. And how the birds know to fly from north to south in the winter. They don't have the GPS, but it came with it. So the key thing is to find out our passion. We're the first thing to find out, what our passion is, what the gifts you have. The gift, the unique gifts that God gives to you, you came with that. And that the unique everyone is unique because we have like billion people. All the people have different fingerprint. So
Right.
it's something. So the question is how to find out that the dream and that passion.
And there's many solutions for doing that. But
Right.
one of the things that Les Brown always talks about is taking care of ourselves first.
Right.
You see, here's my belief. I think for the last few years, especially people watching this right now, you've been taking care of your family, your friends, your peers, your coworkers, other people. And it's time to draw an imaginary line in the sand, step across and say, it's my turn. Meaning that we have to fill our own cup so full that we can feed the world with what flows over. Meaning that we have to become the greatest form of ourselves so we can become the greatest form of ourselves. When we become the greatest example, then what happens is that we can assist other people along life's journey as well.
That's wonderful comparison. Yeah, it's great. So how do we, when you travel around the world and you touch so many hearts, what do you learn from that? How do you feel on these things? People from the east are different from people from the west, or maybe they think the same.
Think the same.
Think the same.
You know, the most important thing is happiness, family,
Yeah.
feeling like you're living a purpose-filled life, like
Yeah.
you're on this big spinning rock for a reason.
Right.
It's about finding life's ultimate purpose. And Napoleon Hill said that the number one thing of all success is that feel like you're pursuing your definite major purpose. Why are you here? And we created something called the success equation. It combines your passion with your talent. See, a lot of people say find your passion and the money will follow. And that's a lie. Because you can be passionate and not be very talented at something and you're not going to make it.
Right.
So you need your passion plus your talent. What are you good at? What is the God-given gift? Then how do you take action with those things?
Right.
Because you can be passionate and be talented, but if you don't do anything with it, you're not going to have success.
Right.
The other part is association. Surrounding yourself with the right people who can open up the doors of opportunity,
Right.
and then having the faith that that's a journey you're destined for.
Right.
That to me is what the true definition of prosperity is.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And in fact, when you follow that equation, the dream, the talent, the talent is how do we get the right talent? You got to be honest. Like talking, like we have a young man out there and sit and listen to us. What advice do we give to them? You should have a dream. You should have a talent. You should have association with the right group. But dig deeper. How do I find out my talent? How do I improve my talents to do the right thing and take the action?
Well, that's the action part. Well, what you can do is take a piece of paper,
Right.
and write on it a list of 10 things.
Yeah.
So on one side, you can say, what would I do if I could do it for free? What's my passion? On the other side, it's like, what are my talents? What am I good at? See, I owned an advertising corporation worth millions of dollars in my 30s. And what happened is a mentor came to me and said this exact same thing. It says, what's your passion? What would you do if you could do it for free? And I'd say, I'd be a teacher. I go, but there's not a lot of prosperity and I like my lifestyle. He goes, what's your talent? And I says, I'm full of hot air. I'm a good talker. And he goes, well, how can you combine your passion with your talent and take action? I go, I could become one of those speaker author guys. And he goes, go do it. 3 days later, I put my business for sale, made my first millions of dollars, and I went head first into this industry because I said, you mean to tell me that I could make a living actually just having a conversation and sharing what I've learned along life's quest? And I go, sign me up for that, and here we are today.
That's wonderful. How many speeches you talk around the world?
Oh, I couldn't even tell you. A lot.
Yeah, a lot. I know.
Yeah, a lot.
Really, 1,000, 100,000. And what do you do when you see? Normally, what the key messages you convey?
It's surrounding yourself with the right association, and that it keeps coming up over and over and over.
Right.
And I can't say this enough, but it's the secret for me is to surround yourself with people who are getting the results you want. Meaning, like when I wanted to be a best-selling author, I didn't ask some knucklehead who's never written a book before. I went to the people at Barnes and Noble who wrote the bestsellers, and I asked them to teach me, and they did. When I wanted to become a speaker, I said, who's the top people in the world? And I reached out to them. They took me under their wing and coached me, and here we are today. Same thing in business, and now I'm making a major motion picture. I don't know anything about making a major motion picture, so I found in Hollywood people that won an Oscar in doing it, and people that are amazing characters, and I asked them to teach me. And by doing so, we're filming in April, and I'm very excited.
You are? Congratulations. You move in a different area now. You keep moving.
Well, growing.
That's growing.
The whole thing about personal growth is you got to grow.
Yeah, think and grow rich, right?
That's right.
That's wonderful. So, what made you go into the movie industry?
Well, I don't know as much as I think it's a progression of what I've already been doing.
Right.
You know, you go out and you speak to a group of 100 people or 1,000 people or 10,000 people. That's awesome.
Right.
Or you write a book and you impact 100,000 people.
Right.
Well, I figured, boy, if I did one really good movie with a message of inspiration and hope, well, you could touch millions and millions in one swipe.
Yeah.
So I figured it's the same amount of work, but there's a higher potential to reach more people. That's all.
So that's that really, you try to reach more people. That's why you
Right.
find the means to do that. That's exactly what we try to do here. That's a very tiny station, but we're looking to build up on that way. So like we started to do the daily mass for the people around the world who cannot go to mass. And nothing more important than when they in the sick bed, they need some power or some hope or some faith that strengthen them and comfort them and give them go through that challenge to the next step,
Right.
or whatever the next step is.
And some people that are not sick or not in bed,
Yeah.
they also need the reinforcement
Right.
that God is giving them an opportunity. I
Right.
mean, the whole thing is I believe God wants us to be rich. That doesn't mean money. I mean, they want us to be prosperous. They want us to be
Rich in
yes,
love, yeah.
we're rich all the way around.
Yeah.
Because the more prosperity we have, the more we can give back. The realities are the church and the Catholic Church and all the different things, they have to run on something. So therefore, they would like their donations as well. Wouldn't it be great to have success and prosperity so you could tithe back more
Right.
so that you can make a greater impact in your community?
Yeah, that's the key thing. How to transform life, how to change life, even one life, even one people listen to that, one person listen, pick up one idea you talk about, we're happy because we are sharing and try to make a difference in their life, and nothing more important than they have to make the difference on their life.
That's the key. I mean, the whole thing is that I would take zero credit for anything. All I say is, I don't want to change other people's lives until we can take care of our life and fill our own cup so full. That means that, I don't want to be drinking and tell someone else to not drink, or smoke and tell someone else not to smoke. The whole idea is to become the greatest example and form of ourselves. It's about attraction rather than promotion. It's living the example. I mean, to me, that's the true way that you can reach the most people, by living what you're speaking.
Yeah, I remember the story about a few years back, over 25 years back. I was running 355 banks in New York City. And when the first time I came, I said, I want to run the government like we run the business. People look at me, you smoke something? But anyway, I believe true partnership between the business and government.
Yeah.
And that's what, after like 200 bank exams report, I found the problems. And then I invite 355 CEOs talk about that. And I do that for 8 years. And I keep inviting people in Washington. Nobody cares to do that. One day I saw the article that the OMB, the White House, thinking about partnership between government and business. I sent them an email. I said, you are just thinking about that. I've been living this for the last 8 years. Would you like to come and see? And then they come. They came. And then the whole thing in the headquarters, the Department of Treasury Trade, what the hell are you doing? You invite the White House without telling us. I said, listen, sorry to say, to remind you, I've been inviting you guys for 8 years. Nobody show up. But the right thing, you stickability, you stick with what you believe, you do the right things, people will follow. Sometimes, some people, you see things more before they do. And a lot of things, people, something in front of you, so, and God gave us the power not to abuse it, but use the power to serve people, to serve what in your environment. So, I mean,
And you proved your model. See, this is one of the biggest things, when it comes to entrepreneurship. People say they have this great idea and they want to go out and raise a bunch of money and they're going to impact everybody. Well, here's a big news flash. The first thing what we want to do is have a proven model. So once you can show that it works, then people will be interested in, and more importantly, they'll actually listen to you of what you're doing. When you're doing something for 8 years or 10 years or 15 years consecutively, all of a sudden people notice that consistency, and therefore they want to participate. Everyone wants to join a winning race, right? So the whole idea is to prove your model ahead of time, and then it's easy to open up the doors.
Yeah, and I feel that, Gray, you feel that we have, in your success, you feel that you have faith, and you have luck there too, or what are your...
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And well, putting yourself out there is what it is. It's like in baseball, getting up at the batting cage. If you more times you get up at the plate, the more chances you have of success. A lot of people only give themselves one shot And if they don't make it, they quit.
Right.
Or they sit there, they have a dream, and they have something called the bad case of the once I's. And that means I'm going to take action once I get the kids out of the house, once I get that big break. But the best time to take action is the moment we feel it, we think it, and we take action towards it. Remember this, it's the action behind the attraction that makes our dream come true. You got to think it, you got to feel it, but ultimately you got to do it.
Yeah, yeah. That's wonderful. What about, can you tell us about the 3 feet from goal?
Yeah, 3 feet from goal was one of the top book projects I did. The first one with the Napoleon Hill Foundation. Sharon Lecter and I co-authored it together. And the whole idea was there's a story about a gold miner who literally gave up 3 feet away from the biggest strike in U.S. history for gold.
Right.
And it reminds me is how many people quit one class short from a degree or sales or marketing or marriage. It's easy to quit. But it's the people that have stickability, that perseverance, that keep going, those are the ones that we tell the stories about and come out on top. So I went on a journey to interview the most amazing people to find out how they kept going when the going got tough.
Right, that's wonderful things to do. I like your job. This is where you talk to all the powerful intellectual thinker and proven success. You not just, but it is so amazing, and that's why make you become an amazing guy to watch all these things from the beginning to the end. What do you learn from these guys? I mean, I saw some stuff like 21 Secrets Self-Made Millionaire from Brian Tracy. I think you will do the same thing with it. What recently, what did come across to you as amazing you the most?
I realized that I'm a quitter. I mean, my whole life, I've been a quitter. I've quit all the things I'm talking about, and a good author will go seek counsel and work on what they need help with the most.
Right.
I mean, I've quit marriage, I quit sales, I quit you name it, I've quit. And I realized that after these interviews about meeting these amazing people and hearing how they persevered, I decided to myself, I drew a line in the sand and say, I'm not a quitter moving forward. And by having that attitude, all of a sudden, I'm telling you, the completion phase comes. It's impossible to win unless you complete. And so for me, right now, the completion stage is the most important.
How do you build that momentum? I mean, you try to not quickening every tiny step, or you have to
people. And surrounding yourself with the people that are smarter and more educated and more talented than me. And one of the great lines from a good friend of mine named John Asroff, he says, "You work your strengths, but you hire your weaknesses." You work your strengths and you hire your weaknesses. And to me, that just stood out like a ton of bricks, because for myself, I'm not the most gifted writer in the world, but I'm a good storyteller. So when I tell a story, I hire a good ghostwriter who takes my words and they craft them in a way that you'd want to read them. And by having that teamwork, we have all these best-selling books.
Oh, that's the secret. So that's wonderful. It's very profound. So you work your strength, but you high.
It's profound that I'm a horrible writer.
That's reality. You're honest, but that's how you behind all this success. You have a lot of secrets to mastering all these things. Important enough to recognize what is your strength and recognize what you need to hide.
Right, and here's the big secret. The secret of all success is there is no secret. All the information's out there. There's enough books and audios, and there's enough people to meet, and there's enough experiences, and there's enough. Look, the reality is it's all out there. For me, the whole bottom line is getting in front of the people who've already got the results that you're looking for yourself. So again, when I'm making my major motion picture, I don't know anything about it. So by getting in front of having lunch with the people who have done it, they can give me the counsel, all the great guidance from the people who have already accomplished what I want to do for myself, and I just take that counsel and actually go apply it.
That's wonderful.
Simple, right?
Yeah, simple, but just like everything else, you see, simple, just like Hemingway, or even the Gettysburg Address from Abraham Lincoln. Very simple, very short, but powerful. The simple thing is the most powerful things, you know. So that's great. And tell me about your recent books, Stickability, and what else you got?
Well, Bob Proctor, one of my famous idols, well, he and I are doing a book together. It's called Think and Grow Rich. It's the first of the series, and it's called Thoughts Are Things. The whole idea is how a thought becomes reality. And we interviewed everyone from a Holocaust survivor of how they handled that situation to the founder of JetBlue Airlines. We met with the founder of TED Talks, all the way to these amazing people, and asked these questions. Says, how did you take your idea and make it come true? Because everyone's got a great idea, but few of it actually bring it to fruition.
Right.
And I want to know that magic sauce. So that book comes out later this year. I recommend you get a hold of that one because I think it's going to be a big hit.
Yeah. I love that because JetBlue, how they come up with that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's from thought to action. We all can learn from that.
Well, again, he didn't reinvent the wheel. There's already a blueprint to follow to create an airline. He just did it with his own twist. And one of the greatest things he did is he over-raised his capital. See, most people, when you start a business venture, what you do is you sit there and say, to open up this restaurant, I need $50,000. So people go out and raise $50,000. The challenge is nothing goes as budget. So it's going to be $75,000. But even once you open it up, people don't understand that you're going to need 6 months to a year's worth of income to make sure you can pay yourself and pay your employees and make sure you can get your vendors. So actually that $75,000 is $200,000. So once you go ahead and you understand you could raise more than you actually need, those are the people that succeed. It's the people that are on the shoestring, they're hoping on luck that instantaneously, the day that they open the switch, that people are going to start coming into business. And very few businesses are ever done that way. It takes about a year. And that's why 85% of all businesses fail the first year. They just undercapitalize themselves. And what he did is he needed, I think it was, I'm going to make up a number, I think it was $100 million. So he raised $240 million. So he had so much revenue, he could go ahead and risk a few different ideas, but thank goodness it worked right away. But the realities are he was smart the way he did it.
Well, Remax the same way?
No, Remax a whole different story. In fact, Remax story is, for years he ran out of money. I mean, when he first had the idea, all the investors ran out. It's 1970. There's nothing left. And for 2 years, every phone call that came in was from a bill collector. For 2 years. And what happened is he'd run across the hall and he'd pick it up so his secretary wasn't put on the spot. The third year, they threw him in jail, calling him a fraud. I asked him, I said, what'd you do? He says, well, I took my attitude from trying to prove them wrong to just prove myself right. He says, I called up the bill collector and says, look, I don't got 50 grand. I'm sorry, but I got 50 bucks. I'll send it to you with the promise I won't quit. He says, don't give up on me. He says, I called every bill collector every month before they could even call me until the fourth year. Someone bought the first business and that became Remax Real Estate. He says, he's not important, but how many people's lives were changed because he wouldn't quit? And how do we know someone watching this episode isn't about to give up on their own dream? Because Visa's calling them right now.
That's wonderful. I mean, that's a great lesson to learn on this stuff. What else do you see? You have Remax and JetBlue. And
that just doesn't even end. I mean, that's a beautiful thing is that we've been around the country and interviewing these amazing thought leaders. But one of my favorite takeaways, I guess if I had one, was a woman named Genevieve Boss who started Pink Magazine. She said a great line. She says, never let your mistakes, your setbacks or circumstances determine your value as a person. And at that time, I was kind of down on my luck because all the money was gone. I was on this book project, and she looks at me and she pulled out a $100 bill and she goes, here, do you want this? I go, yeah, I could use that money. And she crumples it. She goes, here, do you want it? And I go, humbly, yeah, I could use it. She throws it on the ground and she steps on it like a cigar butt. And she goes, here, do you still want that piece of paper? Says, I really could use that. I don't even know how I'm going to get the taxi back to the airport home. And she goes, then why is it in life when you get kicked around and you get beat, when you get crumpled, thrown to the ground and stepped on, you think your value as a person changes? Just like that $100 bill remains $100, what you went through just made you stronger and proved that you would not tear.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It is beautiful that no matter what you get bit up, squeeze, step on, your value never change.
There you go. Thanks for having me on today.
Yeah, thank you very much.